hi there, oh there. Fair warning was given. I would do something on episode 20. And hey, just get real with it, okay? This is not the first podcast to do a name change, and it's not even a change. It's just like a tweak, all right? And a little new deco, freshen things up a bit, while we continue to adjust the lights. Anyway, yeah, and it's a fairly happy occasion. I don't know how long did it take to get 20 episodes out, for crying out loud? Wow. Anyway, I think we managed 40 or thereabouts on the first series, and whether we have an audience or not, we'll probably do it because I mean what? Oh yeah, and studio T-shirts are back because the strike's over. Yay! And there is a very interesting script in my inbox that I probably should be looking at instead of, sitting here talking to myself. But there are a couple of items that need to be addressed, and a couple of dots that I want to connect on, really probably the two biggest stories of the year right now. And we will get to that sometime before we wrap episode 20. Yeah, now just bear in mind, we had a situation last week, and I will not allow it to foul up my celebration. That's what the next segment is for. So brace for impact. And now this. Yeah, those who follow my Facebook feed saw that I went into Shabbos not at all happy. The reason being, yeah, someone filed a complaint about the factual nature of what comes off of this podcast, which on its own is an absolutely deadly insult because I grew up to be a few things that my mom wished I didn't, and no, I'm not reading that list, but I will say that a liar isn't one of them. And there is absolutely nothing goes out on this podcast that isn't properly sourced. And that's better than can be said, excuse me, for the entire right-wing media complex. So let's not even get started with that. Facebook does, well, by the way, by the time I got to it and got to follow up, there was, let's see, there was a Turk and a Russian, and it was either Arabic or Farsi. Nothing in English. Okay, I have no idea what kind of trash these trolls are onto. By the time I got followed up, the Turk and the Arab went and bailed, but we still have the Russian to deal with. And basically, all I'm getting out of Facebook is just sort of this loop back to instructions, and it's not giving me anything at all. And it's getting to be an even more annoying runaround on top of that. So let it be known at this point, Radiojew's Revenge has never played fast and loose with the facts. I didn't do it on the radio. I didn't do it all the way back when I was fronting string bands, and I'm not about to start now. Especially when I hope one of these days the whole world will be watching. So this is a place you're safe with your facts. This is a place where trolls are not safe. And I will track this down, and I will shut down whatever kind of nonsense is going on. Wow. That came out cleaner than I thought it would. All right, now we got that out of the way. Let's see if we can't get a little more cheerful anyway. Now this. There are dots to be connected between the god-awful mess in Israel, Gaza, and the failed former president, twice impeached, 4 indictments more on the way, and already adjudicated rapist. And it goes back almost to Inauguration Day, when his first guests in the Oval, this was caught, if you recall, on a long-distance camera. If y'all don't, I certainly do. He had 2 guests in the Oval right after he drove back because there was so much booing and rotten vegetables prepared. He decided better just drive. Don't walk. Don't do nothing. I don't know what shape the car was in, I don't really care either. Anyway, he walks in, and there's the Russian ambassador and the foreign minister, and they're laughing it up on his first day in office. Shortly after that, there were any number of Mossad spooks got burned. Some of them got pulled. The ones that didn't get pulled fast enough got dead. Then there was another meeting in August with the same 2 Russians. After which time, our intel service, starting with the CIA, was talking about all of a sudden their people are getting burned and dead. And there were many urgent reassignments just to keep people alive. And basically, 2 intel systems have been blown open right after the Ruskies are hanging out in the Oval. Now, but it gets worse, or better, as the case may be. And, of course, there is video footage verified that of Wagner mercenaries involved in the training on the Hamas butchers. This was a 2-year operation they set up with Iranian money, with Russian money, with Russian help. And interestingly, just as Israel and Saudi Arabia were fixing to sign some papers that would at least normalize the relations between those 2 countries, and someone thought, no, it's better there should be some disruption, and that seems to be that word seems to have come out of Iran, who, guess who they're selling all their drones to? The Russians. And it all tends to now, Jack Smith says he has some information as to exactly what happened with those meetings and what might have happened with the Mossad spooks, with our company spooks, with all this. This, I guess, will be coming up. I don't know if it'll be an opening arguments on the on the 3rd of March, day before Super Tuesday, but that makes that whole encounter even more interesting, because that trial That law office is not leaking anything. It's not leaking air. Unlike whoever leaked the depositions from Atlanta, from the two former attorneys flipping, leaving some very interesting breadcrumbs behind, and generally enraging the prosecutors, because that's no good. So now they've got themselves restricted, so that there won't be any more of that sort of nonsense. But what has been done already, and how much damage that's going on right now, and how much bloodshed that's been going on since Simchat Torah, traces back to, y'all really want to vote for this guy? Anyway, we need to move on from here. We've got a few more items to touch on. Some of them happier. So let's move on to those, and just kind of leave this one to cook. Let it simmer for a while. Kind of bury it out in the backyard like kimchi, and see how it ripens. Now this. Yeah, all right. Well, Jim Comer's Nothing Burger Factory has not shut down. I guess everything went quiet for a while until they could sort out who was the absolute wackiest, most totally toxic right winger in the House. And yeah, let's make him speaker. I'm not even going there. That's a whole different segment, and might have to wait for a whole different episode. Yeah, the Comer Nothing Burger is taking on, as always, it's just generally preposterous, and one of these days we're going to find that evidence under I don't know what, under the Corvette maybe. But bless Jared Moskowitz, he does tend to keep up with facts, as Democrats will usually do. He's a little more corporate than I like, and but all that corporate money buys him these fancy suits, but. That was a wild thing he had up the other day. No, this isn't a fashion review, but he basically comes back at Comer, and it's like, well, you and your brother are doing business, so I mean, what? And oh my God, and and he's sitting there, and of course he's trying to lie his way out of it, and Moskowitz won't let him. So he eventually wound up on Fox Fake News, where, lying is what it's all about. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing this. I'm also looking forward to seeing, and I couldn't be more delighted to see it, that Hunter Biden is filing some defamation suits, and and one of the people on his subpoena list is Comer. Yeah, this is what? I mean, Congress isn't actually doing anything. That's the object of the exercise when Republicans get in there. They don't know how to govern. They don't know how to do anything except basically hold things up and obstruct things and threaten a shutdown when they don't actually do it. So, yeah, we got some more of this Michigas to look forward to, y'all. November next. And think about this in the primaries. I'm hoping this is the episode that'll finally get some national coverage, and red state people in particular. Good God, man, you gotta get rid of these clowns. There's some serious business going on in this country, and if you just like go back and look at like previous episodes, because we actually talk about like what the real issues are here: corporate greed, guns. Well, I say there's a good start. Yeah, but and corruption, and we may hit that one on the way out. No, I'm not changing my shirt. I'm not, because it's not changing my mood either. I want to see, basically, I want to start waking folks up as to what the stakes are. We don't need this to get worse than it already is. So start marking your ballots now over in the blue column. If you don't have a sample ballot yet, just wait for it and use it. And do not sit out the election, because every vote that you don't cast for the good guys winds up getting cast for the bad guys. And we'll get back to that one on another time. Also, but there is yet more to be done before, I just sort of sweat all the way through this shirt. So we'll be on with it. Now this. Yeah, still feeling scully. In large part because it is just getting worse all the time. The study came out not too long ago. The more right wing an administration as our country is, the more corrupt they are. And yeah, I mean, it's not like we've got some screaming leftists in the White House as it is, and there's just like so much leftover right wing dirt. Oh yeah, speaking of which, this is cute. So we have the extreme court of perjurers, and right before the Senate Judiciary Committee, which is run by Democrats, which means they actually want to do some business, want to start hearings on how Congress should basically establish a code of ethics for the Supremes, since there isn't one, there never has been one, and there doesn't seem to be much appetite shown by the current corrupt in there, and so they banged out this basically generally vague statement about high standards and history of the court, and basically now what you're looking for is enforcement mechanisms. What you're looking for is specifics. What you're looking for is like, specific things that have to be done, and records and verifications and whatever. None of that's in there. There's no enforcement in there. There are no penalties called out for violations. That's like, what? Really? So I do hope that those that those subpoenas for the extreme perjurers over there do not get canceled, and I do hope those hearings fire up, because that's the only way things are going to. That's the only way anything will ever get done, and then right away start enforcing it. And I think we all know where the biggest violators are, and it won't it won't do this country any harm to see to see the backs of those critters. But first things first, And again, call your congressional rep, call the congressional switchboard, give them your zip code, tell them where you're from, and tell them you want a code of ethics for the Supremes, and you want some other things too. And I got a whole list of action items I think we'll just be running after this, because it's the first time I've run it on the podcast. And it's like, yeah, call these crooks and give them something to do. Now this. This coming week, we will be celebrating that most all-American of holidays, Thanksgiving, that was declared a national holiday, National Day of observance of Thanksgiving by President Lincoln back in his day. And what may be the cruelest irony of all is that we are also on that day commemorating 60 years since the last truly great president this country had, so far anyway, got gunned down on his way to the Dallas Trade Mart to say some very interesting and, as it would turn out, prophetic words. We'll get back to that. That would, of course, be, yes, the real John Kennedy, as opposed to that fraud out of Louisiana, who I have said for years needs to be just sued for trademark infringement or something. Because I guarantee someone down there voted for him because he thought he was the real thing. Anyway, this was, anyone who was around then definitely remembers where they were and what they were doing. I, for one, was getting over dress rehearsal the night before for what was supposed to be my first high school play. We did go on that night because the director had decided that the people needed it after just getting hit like that. It was a terrible shock to the country. As luck, as you will have it, I got to pull that duty a second time, Northern Renaissance Fair, after 9/11. We also opened right away for the same reason, just give people a taste of their reality, which, of course, if we all thought that we really want a piece of this reality, you're in trouble. But yeah, it was certainly better than what they were looking at on the outside, and that's what we've been looking at ever since. I will dispense with the micro on it, and simply say in terms of the macro, there have been, I would say, about half dozen books that have speculated what would reasonably what would have happened had Kennedy lived. He certainly would have pulled a second term. The legislation that Lyndon Johnson had to push through posthumously, obviously, Kennedy would have done and gone further. As for his domestic policy, this was, he was the last great progressive that actually got things done before Joe Biden. Now, I don't call Joe Biden a progressive, but he has been productive as opposed to pretty much every administration since. But it was the vision and it was the optimism of the Kennedys that just lit up the country. And so, in a way, it was personal to just about everyone, one way or the other. And some folks didn't like it. Some folks didn't like their old Ku Klux Klan ways disrupted. But most of the rest of us thought it was we were on our way to good things. And God, no, don't get involved in that mess over in what we called Indochina back then. The past three segments demonstrate all too clearly what has become of this country since we lost our last great president so far. I'm not certain there's anyone right now on the scene with both the ideas and the way with people in one-on-one and in large crowds, the way Kennedy was, and the way with words. Oh yes, way with words. The speech that Kennedy did not live long enough to give. Again, you talk about vision. Finally got published. Apparently, it was some sort of delay, but one paragraph in particular stands out. And that's the one in which he says that if the people of the United States don't start seriously disregarding the insane propaganda coming out of the American right wing for the absolute fraud that it is, this country's in trouble. Well, this was before. I mean, he had just kicked Nixon's butt a couple of years before, so Nixon was not a factor, nor was Roger Ailes, nor was even Rupert Murdoch at that point. But Kennedy could see it coming. It was simply a matter of time. And it started. A lot of people blame Reagan. They say, oh, it started with Reagan. No, it got a shot of steroids with Reagan. But it started. It started the day that Jack Kennedy was gunned down in Dallas. And this country hasn't been the same since. And it's been a sad thing to see, and it does not have to continue. I don't know where they are, but someone does. And it's a two-part process. Right? We've got that visionary leader is out here in this country someplace. And he needs to be found. And the leadership of the Democratic National Committee needs to be either benched or deposed. We do not need another Bernie Sanders fiasco. What we need is the kind of change that Kennedy was bringing, that Bernie would have, that we are getting in little increments at the moment. It's better than anything we've had. But if Joe Biden he says he drew his first political inspiration from Jack Kennedy, well, son, let it show. Oh, and by the way, how you doing with your UFOs? I hope you got them. Oh, and by the way, get one of these chairs too for your office. It's always the best thing in the world for an aging body. Has to be behind the desk. And kids, got news for you. Y'all are in aging bodies too. It's just earlier in the process, right? So you just start taking care of it. Look here, Herman Miller doesn't make these. Okay, Steelcraft doesn't make these. The big name brand office furniture makers don't make these. You're gonna have to deal with 6 guys in a garage. But they all seem to be working off the same blueprint. And while the White House can afford rich Corinthian leather, it's like, man, get something, because we. We need Jolly Joe to be alive and well and as energetic and as comfortable as possible for the next 4 years, and we're hoping for the best. It'll be a step in the right direction. We have a long way to go. Hope I get to see it while I'm young enough to enjoy it. Now this. Okay, so those who um, follow my Facebook feed can easily guess that this outshot is being recorded on the Monday of the holiday week, whereas ordinarily I would be already into the next episode. But as I said, post, as y'all can see, got kind of complicated. Um, so, this will be taking a break this week. Um, because I have to be out tomorrow, and then Thursday is the holiday, and prices are down a little bit. So who knows? I might be able to afford to do something this year. But so we'll skip a week, get 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 our thoughts together, clear the deck of all the gear for a couple of days, and before we fire up again. Um, and it's a good time to just while we're here, mush down gently and lovingly on the subscribe button. And while you're down there, you can go up around the three dots thing until you get the notifications bell, so that you are absolutely certain that you know when we're back. I expect it will be Friday next, but production being what it is, and that very interesting script in my inbox being what it is, anything could happen. So definitely subscribe and go for the notifications. And my vast subscriber base, which I see is growing one number at a time. Thank you very much. Yeah, please. I need your help. YouTube moves a lot faster than it used to, and I'm not getting the street traffic that I did back the first series. So do us all a favor and start sending links around to your friends, and let them know that Radiojew's Revenge is back, for those who may remember the first series, and that we exist here on the West Coast for those who don't. And that will be greatly appreciated, and a very happy holiday present. And yes, this is my last opportunity, just a couple more days, where I can say one holiday at a time. Yes, Mr. Word there. I know it's he'll be going off now to a big family dinner. Not maybe the family he was expecting, but there's always one turkey wants to remind us about one holiday at a time. I'm certain we'll have another one next year. And always remember, since it seems to be the theme of an unattended theme of this episode, as the great Mr. Clemens, Mark Twain, so memorably said, a lie can get halfway around the world before the truth can get its Air Jordans on. Well, the places are very complicated. Happy trails.